On agenda number 8, recommendations from the Board of Public Works performance position. The Board of Public Works is here today. They interviewed, I believe, 3 individuals interviewed candidates for this position. I don't know who the spokesman is for the group. Sean or Yashu?
Yes, Sean can talk. Go ahead, Sean.
Not real well, but I'll give it a shot. Yeah, we actually interviewed the 3 of us. It was Dennis Rosem, Yashu Patorti, and myself did the interviewing. We had approximately 20 applications originally.
It was, I think, 19.
Yeah, we narrowed it down to
7.
7, and we took a poll of 20 questions, and we asked all the applicants pretty much the same questions. There were slight variations as far as in-house interviewees versus outside interviewees. Some of the questions were slightly different. Graded them on a 1 to 5 basis, and how it worked out with the top 2, we both came up, all 3 of us rather, came up with the same person. By doing the questionnaire, that made it pretty much doing it solely on that, left the personal opinions out of it. It you know, was all basis on identical questions to keep the interviews fair, basically. So we chose out of the 7 applicants, Craig Stevens. He's worked for the town for several years. From what we took from the interview, he has an impeccable record. He was union president for 23 years, so he apparently gets along well with the guys. Dennis seems to think that he'll have no problem dictating work to the guys. So I don't know what other questions.
I think I have a question. As personnel director, where did you get your information about the candidates in-house? Who gave you their work habits? Who gave you that information?
We draw from the interviews, and we asked Dennis for a little bit of input, but minimal. We try to keep it.
In other words, you're recommending an individual that comes back to the shop at 2 o'clock and sits in front of the time clock.
But we didn't have.
I know you don't know that.
Well,
But this is where the director, by far, knows personnel.
Well, let me tell you, what we did, when we asked the 20 questions and came up with a scale of 1 to 5, and we've used this before, John, and other candidates, so I used the same system, same form that you gave us, that we used before. Did the same thing, came up with the 20 questions, asked them all the same 20 questions, and each one of us rated them individually. And then when we were all done evaluating all 7 candidates, and we had each individually total up our scores, all 3 of us came up with, number 1, our first choice was all the same. Our second choice was all the same. Our 6th and 7th choice were all the same. There was just the 3 guys in the middle that kind of got mixed up. But the 1 and 2 and 6 and 7 were exactly the same. We all ranked them all the same. Because we all came up with this. Craig Stevens is our first choice based on the interviewing.
on the basis of outside information,
But the reason why...
we had to treat each person like, we had to base the decision, and the way I looked at it was you had to base the decision on the interview process. You had to assume that every person from inside and every person inside on a level playing field, all the information they were giving us was accurate. You know, it was tough to, you can't use references from, that would be opinionated when you don't have any reference for the outside people for the same.
We didn't work with opinions, we worked with facts.
We worked with just the
Right,
questions.
and that's why the Public Works Director was put in that, on that committee to notify the committee members when you're interviewing somebody about the work habits if it's from somebody within.
We were
And
given
this,
no
I will
negative.
tell you, did not happen.
We
All
were
I can
given no
say, this
negative
is your
information.
choice, and I understand why you two and the Public Works Director chose this individual. And that's your choice, that you did that.
Based on the way we did the interviewing process, that's the way it came up.
They said we weren't
Yeah.
given any negative information about his work ethic. He was,
And that's why,
across
and you
very
should have,
well.
you should have got honest opinions about individuals' work habits, and so forth. So, anyway, so be it. This is their recommendation for that position. Does the board members have any comments?
I do. I just have a couple of questions. New to the board and everything. this person, Craig Stevens, was union president. Is this position a union position or a non-union position?
This is not,
Was that taken in consideration?
the
Yes or no?
only consideration was taken in was we still had not had, at the time of the interview, any information regarding that. We weren't told whether or not it was going to be union or non-union or a man. They were still up in the air.
I understand that, but that should have been taken into consideration, whether,
As far as we were knowing, it was not going to be involved in the laborers union. It's going to be either a management union or non-union.
I personally would not put a union president in charge of union people. I would put somebody who's not in the union in charge of union people. This is just my opinion.
Right,
Just
right.
let me finish. When you got no negative feedback on any of the applicants, didn't that click a buzzard? Because when I interview people, if I get nothing negative, you know what I do? I round file it, because there's something wrong right there. Everybody, even I, hard to believe, I know, even I, have skeletons in my closet. And if nobody says anything negative about me, then they don't know me, and then I'm not the right person for the job. These
I
are
think
just-
we already decided that it's going to be a non-union position. I believe we're on tape, and I believe we're on record that, Bob, I told you when you said we had two different fractions down there. And, you know, as far as union, you can't penalize him because of the union president then, but he cannot be non-union. In other words, he can't be a union person and take this position, as far as I'm concerned.
Right.
You're looking at management, and
Right.
again, I've sat on a lot of interviews and everything else, and it doesn't work out. If Dennis goes out for 4 months, he's sick, and you have a union person there, I mean, we would have chaos. I mean, we
That's what I'm saying.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
whoever-
our recommendation, what we had, and we did not put it in, we were gonna put in that our recommendation is based on the original job description, which was to be a non-union or a management union position. It would not be in the same union with the laborers that are down there now.
We don't set that position.
But it
No,
wasn't
I
up to
know, and I
us to
don't
make
know
that
who the-
decision.
You know, I don't know who all the applicants were, but I mean, the Board of Selectmen's comments were asked, and as a boss, if I got nothing negative back from an applicant when I call for and ask something, a red light hits me right there, and I would not put a union person in charge of union people. I mean, you're asking for the inmates to run the asylum on something like that. Those are just my thoughts, my opinion, and that's it.
Any other comments?
Yeah, if I may, and I agree with you a little bit there, but I disagree with you a lot, because people who lead unions can also lead other people. Let me finish. I've been in a labor union, and myself, I chose not to go to management, but I had very good union people go in to be managers, and be fair managers, and be good managers. So, because they have leadership qualities, not because they're a union person or not union person. That has nothing to do with it. It's their leadership ability and their ability to be able to go get ahead and to try to lead people. You don't have to be in a union to lead people. You
No,
can
I
go-
understand.
But you're saying,
that. No.
because he was a president of union, he wouldn't be a good person to.
If he's
to lead us.
union now,
He can't.
No.
No.
He can't
that's
be
why I
both.
asked. He has to be
Well,
either. That's what I'm
once he-
saying.
Once he gets hired in the position, he can't be in that position, no.
He's not.
But right now he's in the
The
union.
new job is
Right,
non-union.
that's-
Right now he's in the union, there's nothing wrong with that.
Okay.
But I think union people do make good leaders.
I'm not saying
I used to be
anything
a
bad
union
against the union. I'm just saying you shouldn't have a union person in charge of.
No, the job is not a union.
The job,
If
right,
if
the
it
only
was, it
reason
wouldn't be a
I
foreman job.
had made mention of
It'd be a
that.
nuclear.
Okay, we discussed wait, excuse me. We can't go too much farther concerning this individual. This is the one that your committee is recommending. I totally disagree with it, only because I know the work habits. So I totally disagree with it. This position, and